According to ancient Greek and Roman mythology, in the ancient kingdom of Phrygia, in the year 700 BC, nestled among the lush valleys and golden fields, there ruled a king whose name became synonymous with wealth and folly. King Midas, known to the world as Midas. Legend tells of his fateful encounter with the god Dionysus, which forever changed the course of his life. Midas, a ruler famed for his insatiable thirst for riches, sought to curry favor with the gods to further enhance his wealth and power. One day, as he wandered through the forest in search of a legendary fountain said to grant wishes, he stumbled upon a weary traveler. To his astonishment, the traveler revealed himself to be none other than Dionysus, the god of wine and revelry. Impressed by Midas's hospitality and generosity, Dionysus offered to grant him a single wish as a token of gratitude. Without hesitation, Midas made his desire known, that everything he touched would turn to gold. Delighted by the king's audacity, Dionysus granted his wish, warning him of its consequences. At first, Midas reveled in his ability to turn everything he touched into gold. He experienced a surge of exhilaration and delight. The prospect of instant wealth and boundless abundance filled him with a sense of invincibility and grandeur. With each touch, mundane objects transformed into shimmering gold, elevating his surroundings to a realm of opulence and splendor. The allure of wealth and material riches intoxicated him, blinding him to the consequences of his action. His kingdom became a dazzling spectacle of wealth, drawing admirers and envy from far and wide. Yet, as days turned into nights, Midas soon realized the grave mistake he had made. Unable to eat or drink without turning them into lifeless gold, Midas found himself isolated and tormented by his own greed. However, Midas's cursed touch extended to the ones he held dearest, and tragedy struck with devastating cruelty. One fateful day, overcome by a surge of longing for the warmth of familial love, Midas called out for his daughter, Zoe, a damsel with a beauty that rivaled the gods. And King Midas was fiercely protective of his precious daughter. He guarded her with unwavering devotion, ensuring that her beauty remained untouched by the greed of others. In the shelter of his love, Zoe thrived, her spirit as radiant as her outward appearance, bringing light and joy to all who beheld her and reaching out to embrace his beloved daughter. But as their arms intertwined, a chilling transformation swept through her, turning her delicate form into a cold, lifeless metal. The once vibrant and loving bond between father and daughter was shattered in an instant, replaced by an unfathomable abyss of despair and anguish. Midas recoiled in horror at the sight of his precious child, now a statue of frozen agony, her eyes pleading for salvation, seeking rescue and deliverance from the cruel fate bestowed upon her by his own hands. Tears streamed down Midas's face as he cuddled the metallic form of his daughter, his heart torn asunder by the crushing weight of guilt and sorrow. In his desperate attempts to undo the curse, he reached out in vain, hoping against hope for a miracle that would restore her to flesh and blood. But the golden touch remained an unyielding curse, condemning Midas to a life haunted by the memory of his daughter's tragic fate. Alone in his simmering palace, surrounded by treasures that now seemed hollow and meaningless, he mourned the loss of the one thing he cherished above all else, the love of his precious daughter, Zoe, forever lost to the cold embrace of metal. Desperate to rid himself of the cursed gift, Midas sought the guidance of Dionysus once more, begging for release from his golden prison. Moved by the king's repentance, Dionysus instructed him to bathe in the river Pactolus, whose waters held the power to cleanse him of his folly. With humility and remorse, Midas followed the god's instructions, immersing himself in the icy waters of the river. As the golden sheen melted away from his skin, Midas felt a weight lift from his soul, replaced by newfound wisdom and humility. From that day forward, Midas vowed to use his wealth, not for selfish gain, but for the betterment of his kingdom and its people. Though the golden touch remained a cautionary tale of greed and its consequences, Midas's legacy endured as a reminder of the transformative power of redemption and compassion. His greed invites us to think and realize the consequences that may lead us to become slaves to our own desires. Furthermore, in the chronicles of legendary myth, the tale of King Midas is etched with a tragic and comic twist. As the story goes, one day Pan, whose name is Marsyas, was a mythical creature who was half man and had the legs and horns of a goat. Pan is a creature associated with nature, music, and rustic pursuits, often seen as mischievous but generally benevolent. He challenged Apollo, the powerful god of music, to a musical contest. Apollo accepted, and the contestants, Marsyas and Apollo, asked the mountain god Tmolus and King Midas to be the judges. First, Marsyas, with his rustic pipes, played a simple tune that echoed through the valley. Then Apollo, with his celestial harp, beautifully unleashed ethereal strains that stirred the heavens. When the music ended, Tmolus, the mountain god, proclaimed Apollo the winner because he thought the sound of his harp was the most heavenly thing he had ever heard. But King Midas, in a moment of misguided sympathy or perhaps sheer defiance, chose and declared the Pan a superior musician, a decision that ignited the wrath of Apollo, who turned Midas's ears into those of a donkey as punishment for his poor judgment. In the myth of King Midas, this transformation serves as a symbolic representation of Midas's foolishness and lack of wisdom in his decision-making. By preferring the music of Pan, a rustic, wild deity, over Apollo, the god of music, poetry, and wisdom, Midas demonstrated a lack of discernment and understanding of true beauty and excellence. And again, this transformation of his ears into those of a donkey symbolizes King Midas's lack of intellectual prowess and his inability to perceive and appreciate true art and wisdom. And so the association of King Midas with the ears of a donkey further reinforces the idea that foolishness or poor judgment can lead to undesirable consequences, highlighting the importance of wisdom and discernment in decision-making. Midas, ashamed of his glaring look of a foolish personality, conceived a clever idea to conceal his deformity with a Phrygian cap, as it not only disguised his ears, but also aligned him with the local nobility, adding a layer of social acceptance to his disguise. In the mythological story of King Midas, only a few individuals knew about his secret. Initially, it was the barber who discovered Midas's donkey ears when he was sworn to secrecy. He had asked the barber who cut his hair to keep the secret, but Midas afterwards confided to his wife about his donkey ears. Midas, after his downfall, lost the will to live and was said to have killed himself by drinking the blood of an hoax. And so Midas, once hailed for his golden touch, became a cautionary tale of hubris and its consequences, forever marked by the brain ears of a donkey, a reminder of the foolishness that lies within the hearts of humans. The morals behind the story of King Midas and the golden touch teach us two very important things. Never be greedy and be careful what we wish for. But in today's modern culture, the Midas touch refers to a business person who tends to turn everything they touch into success. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.